Hey, this is Dr. Drew Jamieson, and today I want to talk about the top things you can do to improve your immune function. Now, we should probably talk about what a normal amount of illness looks like. For me, it's once or twice a year. So if you're getting sick, maybe once earlier in the year, once later in the year, that's kind of a good sweet spot. If you're getting sick more than that, or say it's every season or worse every month, then you know you have an immune system deficiency going on and something is up. The other things that point to a sluggish immune system, say when you get sick, it lasts for multiple weeks, or you have this lingering cough or phlegm and mucus that just won't go away. It should be about 3 days coming, 1 or 2 days of not so good, and then 3 days going. So it should be like roughly a week, maybe up to 10 days. If it goes past that, you have some work to do. And let's talk about some easy things that you can start with. So for me, it's all about the micronutrients. If you look at any system in the body, there's key micronutrients or building blocks that system requires in order to run at 100%. Now for the immune system, the critical ones are vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin C, zinc, selenium, glutathione, and acetylcysteine. And that's just scratching the surface, but those ones are the most critical. So vitamin A, very antiviral. At the sign of a sore throat, scratchiness, maybe you're feeling off, several drops of vitamin A, natural vitamin A, can be very antiviral. It's also what's known as an ionophore, and this helps actually drive zinc, which is super antiviral. It helps drive zinc into the cell so it can perform its antiviral magic. So the two kind of work together. Taking zinc is a great option to boost your immune system. It is antiviral in nature. It also does help support the hormone system. But if it can't get in the cell, it can't do its magic. And that's where vitamin A, and quercetin's another one, will help drive zinc into the cell. Now, vitamin D, I can talk about at length, but it is the king of the immune system. Without sufficient vitamin D levels, you can't mount a proper immune response. And let me tell you, we have a worldwide epidemic of vitamin D deficiency going on. Most people are not getting chest and back exposure of 20 to 30 minutes of sunlight every day to generate enough vitamin D, and therefore their levels are super low. And again, that's just not a reality for a lot of people because we're living in such northern parts of the world, most of us. You're not getting enough natural sun exposure, therefore the vitamin D levels will drop. One thing to mention with vitamin D, you want to make sure you pair it with K2. It helps pull calcium in from the digestive tract to the bloodstream. K2, when paired with vitamin D, gets that calcium into the bones and teeth. So you don't want too much calcium in the bloodstream. You got to make sure it gets to the bones and teeth, and that's done when you pair vitamin D with K2. K2 will help put calcium where it needs to go. Vitamin C is another crucial when it comes to the immune system. So we do know it's a classic cold and flu remedy. If you're sniffly, take vitamin C. People use it by powder, by pill. It's super safe because it's water soluble. So whatever you don't absorb just gets washed out. And that's why it's important to pulse dose vitamin C for it to do its antiviral magic. If you take too much at once, it just causes diarrhea, loose bowels, and you can't absorb more than 500 to 1,000 milligrams at once. So it's best done in those doses several times a day. You know, they've done studies, and if you want an antiviral action from vitamin C, you need to get that blood level probably up to about 12 to 15 grams, which is a lot to take orally. Not only is it a lot to take orally, but you'll only be able to absorb so much of that. So we can circumvent that by doing an intravenous drip where you access a vein and then get 12 to 15 grams in a 30-minute period. This is an incredible option and treatment for when people are dealing with acute viruses, colds, and flus. It's just a vitamin C drip, a high-dose vitamin C drip. So if you have access to that, or know someone that gives those treatments, very, very good option. Zinc and selenium I already loosely mentioned, and those are critical micronutrients that will help, in the case of selenium, generate glutathione, which is an antioxidant that's good for the immune system. And then zinc, as I mentioned earlier, can get driven into the cell with the help of a few other nutrients to be antiviral. So don't forget about those guys, very important. And then there's some herbs we can talk about. So there are a group of herbs known as deep immune tonics. The two big ones are Reishi mushroom and Astragalus. So when both of these are taken, it actually acts very deeply in the immune system, and it goes to the bone marrow level and helps us push out more white blood cells. And for a quick little background on that, white blood cells are our first line of defense, right? They'll mount a response against viruses and bacteria that enter our system, foreign invaders, things that should not be there. So If you need a better response with your white cells, you can take Reishi and Astragalus and they act deep at the bone marrow level to help your body push out more immune cells. So you just have more soldiers circulating your system. I mentioned a bit earlier about glutathione, and the precursor to that is N-acetylcysteine. Both of these are great immune nutrients. Now, glutathione is made naturally in your body. It's used by all the systems. Particularly beneficial ones are, brain health, liver health, and immune health. Now, that of course is not the only things it touches, because every chronic disease known to man has one thing in common. Yes, stress, yes, inflammation, but also glutathione deficiency is huge. So you'll see lower levels of glutathione in people dealing with chronic disease. So it's absolutely in your best interest to get the glutathione levels up so that you have a better, more robust immune response. And then from there, all these other systems will be supported. Another big one for immune system is hydration. If people are dehydrated, their mucous membranes cannot trap foreign material and expel them as well. So if there's dryness in the ears, nose, and throat and lungs because of a dehydration thing, which trust me, a lot of people are dehydrated. Around half the people I see are chronically dehydrated. They just walk around in a fog. So you must get hydrated. Drink 1 liter per 50 pounds body weight. This is critical. Now let's talk about some lifestyle things when it comes to immune system. Some of the biggest ones is over or under exercise. It's a sweet spot you need to find with this. And I see this a lot in athletes that 6-7 days a week of training will burn their immune system. They'll get sick more often, they'll get run down more often, and that is the reason why, because they're simply going past what their body can recover from. And then that takes energy away from their immune system, and then simple things get them over and over again. Same thing with people that under-exercise. You're not stimulating your system enough, you are going to be less healthy and more susceptible to illnesses. So it's finding that sweet spot. What is it for you? It's probably somewhere between 4 and 6 sessions a week, but you also have to consider intensity, because you can move and be active most days, but you have to vary the intensity. You can't just be high intensity all the time. Some other killers when it comes to the immune system: if you're sleeping less than 7 hours a night, you are trashing your immune system. That is when we patch and repair ourselves, lay down new tissues, rebuild our cells. And if you're not sleeping and recovering, most of that immune system is not getting patched and repaired if you're getting less than 7 hours. Some other huge ones: not regulating your stress. So when we have too much stress hormone flowing through our system, cortisol, epinephrine, norepinephrine, it is an immune suppressor. They use these in the standard medical world to suppress inflammation and overactive immune systems all the time. They'll give you steroid hormones and cortisone and things of that nature, but that suppresses the area. But when you're running on those hormones all the time because you're asking so much of your body, you're demanding so much of it, you're not sleeping, you're not recovering, you're putting fires on all the time, you're working too much, you're dealing with relationship stress and family stress, that all just boils over, and boom, you get an artificial suppression on your immune system. Some other big ones: alcohol. Alcohol crushes the immune system. It disrupts your sleep, and it's absolutely one of the worst things you can do for your health on a consistent basis. You must have a good relationship with alcohol. You want to pick max 1 night a week, keep it to 1 or 2 drinks. I'm a big fan of people doing 30-day no alcohol challenges. It absolutely changes people's lives, and it is one of the biggest barriers to health that I see. Too much sugar, processed foods, oxidized oils, highly suppressive to the immune system. They've studied this. Take a baseline sample on people's white cell activity, which are immune cells, introduce a ton of sugar into their system, and their output and reactivity of those white cells goes way down. It's no surprise that when the season changes in the fall, and now we come into the darkness and more comfort foods and more sugar, and then Halloween whacks us over the head with more sugar, and then at Christmas time it's it's baking, it's cookies, it's all kinds of binging. It's no surprise we get super sick. They call it cold and flu season, but how much of that is a lifestyle change based on the holidays and the amount of sugar and processed foods we bring into our bodies? Well, it's no surprise that a lot of people get very sick over those 4 months. The bugs around us year by year do not change regardless of what month it is. They're always around us, but the state of our body changes. The amount of sleep we're getting, the amount of sugar we're getting exposed to, the amount of water we're drinking, how active we are, all that is what changes, and that is what creates these seasons. So if you're dealing with immune system issues, if you're getting sick often and you can't kick it, and it is starting to take away from your productivity at work, your ability to enjoy life, nobody likes just taking sick days off. We want to be able to do the things we want to do. So if you need help with this and you need direction, or you want to look into some testing to actually figure this out, just drop me a comment below. I'd be happy to chat with you about this. This is what I do, and this is one of the systems I love treating, so we can absolutely help you out with this.